For 2 years, in 1957, after a brief stint at the Oriental Institute of the University of Chicago, he returned to Jerusalem, becoming affiliated with the Rockefeller Museum, where he worked as epigraphist until 1960. In that year, he was appointed assistant professor of Old Testament studies at Duke University's Divinity School. In 1968, he moved to Harvard Divinity School as professor of Christian origins. Strugnell's appointment as head of the international team was not entirely unimpeded. Since 1967, the Israeli government had been legally authorized to ratify all such appointments in Father Benoit's case. The Israelis hadn't bothered to exercise their authority in Strugnell's for the first time. They asserted their own rights over the material, according to Professor Shemariyahu Talman, a member of the committee that vetted Strugnell. His appointment was not ratified until certain conditions were met. Among other things, the Israelis were troubled by the way in which certain members of the international team tended to play the role of absentee landlord. Since the 1967 war, for example, Father Starkey had refused to set foot in Israel. Father Milk D. Vaux's closest confidant and protege had for many years lived in Paris, with photographs of some of the most vital scroll material, to which he alone has access. No one else is allowed to make photographs without Melik's consent. No one, not even on the international team, is allowed to publish on the material of which he has custody. To our knowledge, he has never, since the 1967 war, returned to Jerusalem to work on this material. Tain magazine describes him as elusive. Another publication, Biblical Archaeology Review Bar, has twice reported that he refuses even to answer letters from the Israeli Department of Antiquities. He has treated both of the scholars and the great general public with what can only be described as disdain. Anxious to discourage such behavior, the Israelis insisted that the new director of the Scroll Project spend at least some of his time in Jerusalem. Strugnell, who was reconsidering his position at Harvard in any case, complied by taking half retirement from his post. He began to spend half of each year in Jerusalem at the École Biblique, where he had his own quarters. But there were other obligations which he failed to discharge. He did not publish the text entrusted to him. His commentary on one of these texts, a fragment of 121 lines, has been expected for more than 5 years and has still not appeared. He wrote only one 27-page article on the material in his possession. Apart from this, he published an article on Samaritan inscriptions, a translation of Melik's study of Qumran, and, as we shall see, as long and hostile critic of the one member of the international team to challenge the interpretation of the consensus. It is not a very impressive record for a